Hello friends. Now I explain the concept number 4 in the Java concept pool. This is the qualifiers and the signature of a main. In every Java program, we write the main method using the corresponding qualifiers. Now we see we write it like this: public, static, void, main, and we give string array args, string array and args. All these are must. We don't have any option. Unlike C, if you see C program, the main signature is very small. Either we write either void main or int main. Int main. Here, giving parameters is also optional. Suppose whenever we use command line arguments in a C program, then we give args C, that is arguments counter, args V, argument vector. Otherwise, it is not compulsory to give arguments to the main function in C. But in Java programs, it is compulsory, and for all the main methods, main method should be written with these qualifiers. So we should understand the meaning and purpose of each and every term in this header. Actually, main is the entry point of a program. Program execution starts from main. JVM, Java Virtual Machine, enters into Java program through main only, and it starts its execution. The entry point, always remember, the entry point of execution of a Java program is the main method. So let us understand each and every term in the signature. Now let us start from void. Every method may or may not return a value. A method may return 0 or 1 value. Always remember, a method maximum can return only one value. Otherwise, it may not return values. If it does not return any value, also we should specify. We should specify if it returns any value, we have to mention its a type. If it does not return any value, then also we should explicitly specify with a void. Void represents a return nothing, returns nothing. That means the method is not returning any value. That is the indicator. So this is a return type. And one more thing, once again I am telling you, a method, in case it returns, it can return only one value. A method cannot return more than one value. Okay. Next one, public. Let us come to public. Actually, this is access modifier. This is called access modifier. Actually, different accessibility limits we maintain as far as real life is concerned, or as far as data is concerned. Let us come to the real life. We keep our main door open. That means drawing hall is open, publicly open. Then thereafter, once you come into the home and all that, certain limited restrictions are there, limited accessibility is there, or no accessibility is there. Suppose, for example, kitchen room and devotional room, limited accessibility is there, all should not enter just like that. As far as bedroom is concerned, totally private. This is a normal case. So we are maintaining different accessibility levels in our home. Main door is open, then anybody can enter, and after entering home, some rooms are having limited accessibility, some rooms are totally private. That we maintain. In the real, as far as data is concerned, also data is concerned, we should maintain that. Suppose, just a simple example I am giving you, your name, your telephone number, your your password. Just three data items I am telling you. With the reference to this, you can understand. Your name. Your name is public. Anybody can know your name. What about telephone number? Telephone number is restricted to limited number of people, your friends, relatives, and other known people, and all that. As far as your password, the email password, and all that, that is totally private. Understand? In this way, how you are maintaining your house accessibility and all that, in the same way, data also should be different accessibilities limits we have to provide, and the access modifier. So job is that here public means it is open to the public, entire world can access it. That is the meaning of that. And here later remaining accessibility specifiers and all that in respective context I explain. Otherwise, if you focus on them, we are distracted from the main discussion. So here public main, the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, should enter into the program for execution through the main. Already I told you the entry point. If you if you don't keep the main door open, you cannot interact with the world. If we have to interact with the world and all that, main door should be open. That's why if you close your main door and all that, you are totally restricted from interacting with the outside world. That's why, as the main is the entry point, always we must declare it as public. Okay, now I explain two terms. Next one is static. Actually, in Java, two types of elements are there, mainly data and methods. In every class consists of two types of elements. One is data item, second one is methods. Methods are meant for performing operations. Okay, the data items and methods can be classified into two groups. Some are belong to class, some are belong to object. In the same way, some data items are belong to class, some data items are belong to object. So in the same manner, methods also, some methods are belong to class, some methods are belong to object. So if any element, either data or a method, should be earmarked as belong to class and all that, it should be declared with the qualifier static. If you declare anything belong to class and all that, it should be declared as static. For object oriented things, you need not use any specifier. For class oriented things, you must use static. Now main belong to class, not belong to object. Why? That also you should know. Now first object is created. Once object is created, object oriented data can be used, object oriented methods can be used. So where operations are done only within the methods. So class first create an object, thereafter object oriented elements gets activation. Understand? First class should create an object, then only object oriented elements gets life, gets activation. So where operations are performed within the method, where class can create an object, just think, class should have a method, class should own a method, in that only it can create object. So until unless an object is created, object oriented elements never get activation, never get a life. So that's why main is earmarked as static. It is belong to class, it is not belong to object. So in the main method only, class can create objects. That is the basic reason. That's why it is made as static. And one more point you must remember, a program may consist of more than one class, more than one class, but in only one of those classes, the main is defined. Always you remember, a program consists of only one main, and a house consists of only one main entrance. Okay. Now, regarding static, if you want to have more information, more understanding, I give you an example. Actually, compare this with an apartment. If you take an apartment, in apartment, two types of servants are there. Servants are like methods, apartment and flat. There are several flats. An apartment is nothing but a collection of flats. Now, two types of servants you can find, security guard and servant maid. Two examples I am taking. Security guard belong to apartment. Just to compare, class is like an apartment and flats are like objects. So, security guard belong to apartment. Apartment dot security guard. Okay. And servant maid belongs to flats. Flat number 101 dot servant maid. In the same way, in Java programs also two types of elements are there, class oriented elements and object oriented elements. Class oriented elements and all that, if you want any data item, any variable or a method should belong to class, then you must declare it with the static qualifier. Always remember this point. And in order to uh, enlighten you on this point, one more example I give you. Which data can be declared, which data may be declared as static. Now, if you take that example of same example, room and all that, see, three variables are there, length, breadth and height. And if your house consists of half a dozen rooms and all the lengths and breadths of the rooms are unique. Length and breadth of the rooms are unique. And as far as height is concerned, all rooms normally, I am talking about normal cases, all rooms height is same. Height is same. In such case, height you can declare with the static. Height you can make it belong to class. Okay. And length and breadth are different from room to room. Normally it is different from room to room. Then you can declare them as instance. Instance means you need not do anything. Class oriented means you have to use static qualifier. Okay, always remember. One more example for your fine knowledge. Actually, somebody taking data of your of the students in your class. There are 60 students. Suppose let us take 5 data items. One is your semester, semester number, your branch, your name, your roll number, and percentage of marks. 5 items. Once again, I repeat, your semester number, like 7th semester, your branch, like CSE, your name, Mohan, your roll number, 5, your average marks or marks percentage, 65. For every student, they are taking all the 5 data items. Now, there are 60 students. 60 into 5, 300 data items are required. But if you refine your knowledge with reference to static, which data items are eligible for to be declared as static? If you see, then you can find two items. One is semester, because all 60 are belong to 7th semester or particular semester, and all you are belong to one branch, CSC, mechanical, civil, etc. and all that. Those, if you want, you can declare them class type. class type, that means static. Then how many data items are required? 16 to 3, 180, and these two are declared as class type. Then 182 are enough. If you declare them as instance, 16 to 5, 300 variables are required. If you declare semester number and branch as static, 182 are enough. So that is one way you are declaring them as global. Semester number and branch, you are declaring them as global. Whenever such requirement is there, then you can declare it as static, and invariably main should be declared as static, because for creating objects and all that, class should have a method, because operations are performed only within a method. So for creating objects, one method is required. That method is the main, and that's why it is declared as static. Now actually we have to write in this order. If you want to change the order, simple this thing is there. Oh, static void you have written, void static you write. Beyond that there is no option and all that. Even don't try, because why should you change? People simply accustomed to this order, this sequence. If you change the order, then automatically it creates a confusion to the people. Okay, now I explained four terms and all that. Now come to this one. Strings array args. That means it represents a array of strings. Array of strings. Its name is args. This is user defined. This args, instead of args, you can give some other name like params, values. But don't do that. Why unnecessarily you confuse people? Is there any special benefit by changing this? This is purely user defined. Even though don't try to change. If you want to try once, you can do that. But this is user defined. Everything should be in the same manner. Okay, what is this? I explain. We can, if you want to give arguments to a program, the inputs to a program through command line arguments, you can give through command line argument. If I generally explain, you may not grasp it. That's why one example I am taking, cash bill demo, and with reference to that I explain. Suppose cash bill demo class you define. you have to print cash bill using this and all that. Then first what to do? You compile it. For compilation sake, Java cash bill demo.java. So successful compilation happens. Thereafter, you go for interpretation. Then Java cache build demo. Then you here only you have to give inputs. Then you want to give three inputs. One is pence, and second one is 10 pence, and each price 9 rupees 75 paise. Three items you are giving. But in this case, the uniqueness is whatever data item you give, it is converted as string. Now pence originally string. Now 10 also, that is integer, even though it is converted as string. 9.75 originally it is a floating point, even though it is converted as string. So how it is stored? Now you see, this is string array. String array. Now these are strings. Pence a string, 10 a string, 9.75 is a string. Now this args, it provides references. You know, these are objects, string objects. String objects must have references. Those references are stored in the args. So this is the command line argument mechanism. Actually, in JAC 1, chapter 1, I have detailedly explained this modus operandi of this thing. Here, in order to explain this only, I am showing this. So whether you use command line arguments or not in Java programs, unlike in C, you must write string array args. So this is all about the signature and the qualifiers of the main.